Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the Chapters 13 through 16 podcast. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be focusing on the timeline that you guys have been adding on throughout this book. But we're actually going to be focusing more on like the historical part of the timeline, and I'll explain to you what I mean. Many of you guys have been coming up to me and been saying that Mrs. Kurtz, we're just a little bit confused by what do you mean by historical event? Because the fact is that Children of Willesden Lane is all about Lisa, who really existed, and she's a real person. And as I told you, really what we're putting on our timeline is we're really putting on events that could happen in this book as well as any other Holocaust novel. But in order to kind of like really hone in on this, today what we're going to be doing is that on our timeline, for anything that we actually put on our timeline, it needs to have a specific source, like a real historical source, which of course I'm going to provide for you. So on the chapters 13 through 16, you can notice over here that I basically have added information about the London Blitz, which is actually what the events that you're going to be adding onto your timeline, because I would say pretty much the historical events, except for Mira Hess, who was a real person, pretty much I would say the historical event is the London Blitz. So if you notice, if we kind of run through the different sources, we have, this is an article about the London Blitz, taken from I think eyewitness.com or something. Then we have history.com, another source. Okay. And then we have different pictures taken from this time. It's actually cool. This is a German bombing plane flying over southeast London on the first day of Blitz, which is pretty cool. People sleeping in the underground shelter, and some of the destruction. Okay? So what you're going to be doing right now is that you're going to be going into your timeline. So I'm going to take out my timeline, and you're going to be adding events, picture, and then the historical information. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to add an event. I'm going to add an image, like I always do. Thank you. And the image I'm going to add on is from page 141, which talks about, on page 141, it says, some of the children chose to spend the whole night in the shelter, but the trade-off was waking up with frozen fingers and toes. So I'm going to write is that during the London Blitz, many people chose to sleep in the shelter. This way they wouldn't have to, wake up in the middle of the night. And this time, which I'm going to do, I'm actually going to write the page number that I got it from. Then I'm going to add an image. But here's the issue. I want to make sure that for this time, I'm only adding clip arts. Because to be honest, I think that the London Blitz is going to have a little bit of graphic images. So I'm going to go to my Google. Ooh, I don't need to see that. Images.google.com. And I'm going to type in shelter clip art. Okay. And I think that this is a great picture. This is a great picture. I actually already chose a picture. So I'm going to then upload a picture. Okay, but notice I'm only using the word clip art after my image search. Okay, so then I'm going to go to upload from computer. Oh, this is cool. I never noticed this. Look at this. Whew. Let's see what this has. Ooh, if I go to save image as, or no, that's not what I want. What is the link to this? Curious if this works. Let's see. Bada bing, bada bing. Bada bing, no. All right, so we're going to upload from computer. I already saved it. I'm going to go to shelter because you don't need to see all my random interesting pictures. Okay, shelter. Okay, now that I've had my image description and I have my picture from clip art, I now need to add the historical source. So I actually got this. I know that this actually happened because in my sleeping in the underground shelter, here's a picture of people sleeping overnight. So for my historical source, I'm going to add it where it says image credits. I'm going to write from one of the pictures we can see that many people slept in the underground shelter. Okay, so that's like if I wanted to use something from a picture. But if I want to actually use something from like a source, so if I look over here, it talked about residents sought shelter wherever they could, finds in many flings the underground shelters, stations that sheltered as many as 177,000 people during the night. So I could also do, instead of doing from one of the pictures, I could also do that from the eyewitness source, because I think that's the name of the source. It talks about, try not to have typos when you're doing a video, many people sleeping in underground shelters. Okay, so just to review, you're going to read through all the London Blitz sources that I put on Schoology. You're then going to add onto your timeline just events that deal with the London Blitz. You're going to write the event that we learned from the book with the page number. You're going to choose a picture that's only a clip art. And then you're going to do the actual source, the real historical source. And that's it. And this is Mrs. Kurtz signing off. Cha-ching.